The topic is school-based assessment. School-based assessment. The assessments are done based on the school. Number 1, what is SBA? The SBA or school-based assessment is an assessing program. Right? Underline that one. Is an assessing program. Right? This is the definition of this SBA. So you have to remember this. Not only SBA, even in any assessment, this is the definition. Right? There are certain features, around 8. So you'll have to remember them when you define the term. School-based assessment or assessment. SBA is an assessing program implemented to assess the students continuously by the teacher, being with them when they are engaged in learning, to identify their strengths and weaknesses. Then add this one, to apply remedial measures. Right? You have learned this when you studied about these assessments. So what is this SBA? It is an assessing program implemented to assess the students. That's the second one. Continuously, right? Frequently. Not at the end of the term or at the end of the year, at the end of the course. No, it's a continuous assessment. Formative type, not the summative type, right? That's the third one, continuously. Who will conduct these assessments? The teacher, by the teacher. That's number 4. Being with them, right? Now the teacher is assessing the students, no, so the teacher is being with them. Teacher has to be with the students, being with them when they are engaged in learning. So the teacher has to be with the students when they are engaged in learning and at the same time can assess. Engaged in learning, to identify their strengths and weaknesses and to apply remedial measures. So there are 8 points you will have to remember, including that starting point. It is an assessing program, right? One way or other you will get this definition. You will have to write it. You have to produce this definition at the exam. So remember this, right? Now imagine, always when there's a concept, imagine the situation. According to SBA, you will have to imagine a teacher. She has assigned group works to students, right? The students are working in groups and the teacher moves around the class helping the students, right? Weaker ones, clever ones, all. Imagine that situation. Have that picture in your mind and study this unit. Now we will go through the description or the introduction down there. It is an attempt to develop a monitoring culture. You monitor, you guide, you facilitate, right? Monitoring culture within the classroom through diagnostic and remedial measures, right? The teacher identifies especially the weaknesses. Diagnostic tests, we don't conduct tests here, but identifies the weaknesses and apply remedial measures. So it is the monitoring culture. In this task, the teacher is expected to move with the students in the classroom. ඒ කියන්නේ teacher ළමයි එක වටේ class එක ඇවිදිනවද? No. The teacher is expected to be with the students, right? Move with the students in the classroom, understand their abilities and inabilities through constant supervision. So the teacher is constantly supervising, right? Observing, constant supervision and assist them in their studies. Remember I told you that picture, So the teacher is always with the students while they are engaged in learning, right? When they are learning, they are doing their group work, right? They are learning. So the teacher is with the students and identify the students' strengths and weaknesses. Then, hence, SBA is a process that leads to the development of each and every child. So when the teacher is with the students, teacher can pay attention to each and every student. And it is not a process of comparing students according to the levels of intelligence. Now here the teacher does not compare the students. Right? He got the first place, he is the best. According to Amali, Bimali is not working well. No comparison here. Right? We don't compare in this school-based assessment. Individually we compare. Actually it is ipsative type. Right? Amali's development, Bimali's development, like that. We don't compare. According to the levels of intelligence or placing them in the order of ability. We don't select first, second, third. SBA does not imply a total rejection of the post-evaluation strategies, right? So SBA, now assessing while they are engaged in learning, so SBA does not imply a total rejection. It doesn't reject the evaluation. Evaluation, what do you mean by evaluation? We give a test, get the marks. Based on the marks, we make judgments. There we place the students according to their abilities also. Ranking is done. Right? SBA does not totally reject that. It accepts it, but it pays more attention to individual development, right, rather than comparison. Total strategy, but an attempt to introduce more suitable strategies systematically and bring about a change in the long run, right? So we'll continue. The sole aim of this program is to develop a well-balanced personality. That's why it targeted long run, long-term achievement. The sole aim of this program is to develop a well-balanced. Who is a well-balanced citizen? උසට ශරීර මහත තියෙන citizen කෙනෙක්ද? Well-balanced. That is also correct, the physical aspect, right? Here, what do you mean by well-balanced person? A person who is knowledgeable, affectionate, skillful, and with good, positive personality traits and social skills, right? That's a well-balanced person. So this aim of this program is to develop a well-balanced citizen in students and lead them to expected competency levels, right? So that's the main aim of this school-based assessment. Now we are coming to the second point. Principles and concepts underline the school-based assessment, right? Principles and concepts. I have written C number 5 as well, so that's why I have taken that number 5 also here. It's in page 4, right? Now, what are the principles here? Concept of mastery learning. We master a skill, right? Concept of mastery learning and not the idea of normal distribution. Now here I have to explain this unit, normal distribution. It says normally the students' achievement levels, right? They have a pattern like this. Majority of students score marks around the average. We give a test, get the total, divide that by number of students, we get an average. We'll say 60. So if there are 40 students, majority of students have scored marks around 60. 59, 50, 57, 58, then 61, 62, like that. Majority have scored around the average, and there are very few students who scored very well, 90s maybe, and a few students uh, who scored zeros, tens, 13, like that. Right? That's the normal distribution. Normally, the marks are distributed like that in a normal classroom. So, according to school-based assessment, since we are assessing the students while they are engaged, and we are just paying attention to individual student, the concept of mastery learning, whether a particular student has mastered a skill or not, like that, especially can do, right? And not the idea of normal distribution. That means no evaluation, not the idea of evaluation. Mastery learning means all students come to a certain level in mastering a skill, right? Criterion referenced, not evaluation, but assessment. Evaluation is we are judging. We make judgments based on the marks. Mostly evaluation is done at the end of a course or end of a term, at the end. But assessment is done throughout. Ipsative referenced approach. That's of we pay individual attention. Methods of progress testing, performance testing, and ability testing rather than achievement testing, right? So here SBA used methods of progress testing. Remember progress tests? What are those progress tests? Teacher tests, right? Performance testing, performance, skills, and ability testing, whether can do or not, rather than achievement testing. Achievement testing here means knowledge. Knowledge, we test knowledge also in the school-based assessment, but we pay attention to other things as well, right? Skills, attitudes, all these things. Test construction based on psychological approach testing, right? The idea of competency check rather than ranking, right? Competency check, competent or not. Criterion reference. Remember, a student's achievement is compared with a set criteria. Criterion according to the levels in the criteria. Competency check rather than ranking. Remember, right? There are many, at least you will have to remember 5 or 6 from both sections, 2 and 5. Then, towards a learner-centered and meaningful discovery learning process. So, school-based assessment is a child-centered approach. It involves meaningful discovery learning. Students learn by discovering or trial and error, not passive learners. Designing the teaching, learning, evaluating process to suit the need of balanced personality development. So the aim of the SBA is to develop a balanced citizen, a well-balanced citizen. So the teaching process is targeted that to develop the 5 what do you mean by well-balanced? Developed in the 5 domains, right? Teaching, learning is also based on the 5 domains, and evaluating, right? Assessment is also based on the 5 domains. We check the students have developed their knowledge, developed their attitudes. How do we check the attitudes and skills? Skills can be checked by a what? A checklist. Then attitudes, Likert scale, attitudinal scales, observation sheets, right, like that. Personality traits, social skills, again Likert scales and all these things, and also by giving projects, assignments, all these field trips, we can assess students' personality traits, social skills. Number 9, considering teaching, learning, evaluating as a total process, a continuous process. Put a star mark there because sometimes you get that part as a second in the second paper, right? A continuous process, teaching, learning, evaluating as a continuous. Usually we teach, the students learn, then we give a test, get the marks and make judgments. That's evaluating. But we can start from learning also. We can ask the students to prepare a project report or a scrapbook. The students find information and prepare this kind of scrapbook. So they present it to the class. And then based on that, the teacher can, not based on that, students level, the teacher can teach and then give a test or can evaluate. Or we can start from evaluation also, right? We are assigned or we gave them an assignment, so there the students have to learn, right? We give marks to that assignment and then we can highlight the key points and add more information. That's teaching and then the students learn. So it's a continuous process, not a straight one like this: teaching, learning, evaluating. It is also included, but you can start from learning or you can start from evaluating also. That is number 2. Number 5, that's also connected. That's why I have taken both together, right? This number 5 is in page 4. Characteristics of SBA. I'll quickly go through, it's the same. SBA is not an evaluation process. Evaluation at the end, we get the marks comparison. It is not like that. SBA promotes the teaching learning process by assessing the students' abilities continuously while the teaching learning process is going on, right? During the teaching learning process. That's how the teacher can give feedback and effective feedback and apply remedial measures. SBA does not assess at the end of a unit. Here it should be SBA does not assess only at the end of a unit. It can assess, right? But it assesses within the unit while learning, right? That is also good. SBA does not assess at the end of the week. It is not summative. Remember summary at the end. It assesses throughout the week, even in the while we are teaching in the classroom. We can assess students. We being with we now we'll say grade 4 class. When you teach, you give group work. It's not always group work, even pair work or you individual work also. You be with the students while they are learning. That is SBA, right? SBA does not assess at a predetermined schedule, like now monthly test at the end of every month or final exams. No, there's no timetable, predetermined schedule. Assessment can be done at any time as the teacher wishes. That's why teacher test, progress tests. Assessments under SBA is not based solely on written tests. Now, evaluation most of the time, written test and practical test are also there. But SBA, these points are important. You can remember them, right? SBA uses checklists, observation sheets, assignments, projects, then debates, field trips, what else? All these things can also be utilized for this purpose. So not only written tests, but so many different types of measuring tools. Remember those measuring tools, measuring items. Items are questions, right? SBA does not come to judgments on the whole achievement by a sample only, right? Now we have a full syllabus. Now if you take the evaluation, final exam, we have a full syllabus and then we take only a sample. That means we prepare questions based on certain parts. It's a sample. And then we make judgments based on those samples. But SBA does not come to judgments like that. It's a thorough thing, the full, complete one. SBA assesses not only the final product, but also the student's readiness for the lesson. Here, SBA assesses at pre, while, post in all three stages. Remember, even before teaching, I told you that scrapbook and all. Before teaching, while, before teaching and learning, while teaching and learning, at the end of teaching and learning. Pre, while, post. SBS is not only final but also readiness for the learning, readiness pre. How he learns, how, කොහොමද ඉගෙන ගන්නේ, the process, how he learns and how much he learns, that is involved, how much achievement, right? SBA is not geared or aimed, targeted to assess only the best students. I told you the teacher pays individual attention to the students, because the teacher is always with the students. Only the best students. SBA assesses the achievement levels of average and weaker students as well. She pays attention to all the students, right? All types. SBA does not target it at awarding certificates. The sole aim of SBA is to produce a well-balanced and competent citizen. SBA does not rank students' achievement. I told you it does not take that norm referenced approach. We don't rank according to the student's achievement. It only assesses whether a student has achieved the minimum requirement, existing level, the expected learning outcomes, that level, minimum requirements. Remember I told you that type in one, at the end of 3 months, we check whether the student can type 40 words per minute without any mistakes, like that, right? That's the expected, the minimum level. If the student can type like that, then it's fine. SBA is not aimed at finding what the students cannot do. Usually when we find what the students can do, automatically we cannot, but it concentrates more on what the students can do and then improve it further, right? SBA does not facilitate a teaching learning process based on lecture method with passive listeners, not jug to mug, right? Passive, no passive learning, but activity-based, child-centered learning. SBA assesses not only the cognitive abilities, knowledge, but also affective, psychomotor, personality traits and social skills as well. SBA assesses all 5 domains, but in evaluation, basically knowledge and skills also, because the practical tests are there. So that is SBA characteristics. Have you got an idea about what is SBA? It's better if you can have that picture in your mind. The teacher, a friendly teacher, has given group work, the students are learning, they are actively engaged in learning, and the teacher moves around the class helping the students, right, identify their strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, the teacher is there to build up a total person, a well-balanced person, not only knowledge, attitude, skills, personality traits. By giving group work, you can encourage them to develop their personality traits as well as social skills. So remember like that, and then go through some of the points. At least remember 6 characteristics or the principles. Then you can expand them and write, right? One, for example, one is SBA is targeted at developing a well-balanced citizen. That means 5 domains. That is one. Then SBA not only based on written test, but it employs different types of measuring instruments like projects, assignments, debates and all. Like that, remember 6. Okay. Next one, number 3. Now, as you can see, I have numbered each section. Right, you can see most of the time there will be a question based on SBA. Right, in the second paper you study the exam papers, then you can see a pattern, and they ask questions based on these parts. They don't, sometimes they ask directly, sometimes indirectly. So you have to get the concept, the information, basic information of SBA, and then write the answers accordingly. You can adapt your knowledge of SBA according to the question. Now, why was it necessary to introduce an SBA program? Right? Why? What was the reason? This program was introduced in the year 2000. Actually, it was done initially at 1998. Right? They have selected a sample in Maharagama and conducted pilot program, and then they thought it was successful and carried out island-wide in 2000. So why was it necessary to introduce such a program? Right? SBA. You can see there are 3 points. Here also you can remember points within the main points also. First one, the dissatisfaction evident among the general public on the following factors related to the educational process in the country. So the dissatisfaction, unhappiness evident among the general public, right, based on the educational system in this country. Now, why? A, what is evident within the classroom, right? If you observe the classroom, this is before 2000. Poor performance of students. Some students, they do not work well. Even now, from grade 1 to grade 11, they just pass the grades. No assessment. At the O levels, they fail then. So, what is evident within the classroom, right? Poor performance of the students in general. B, examination results evident at the end of the junior and senior secondary education level. That means majority fails after 11 or 13 years of schooling, O levels, the whole exam or in subjects, especially English, right? Always it's around, even now, 40%, 45%, 48%. So nearly half of the student population fail this subject, English, even now, right? Examination. So after 11 years or 13 years of learning, majority fails the exams. So that is dissatisfied. Abilities, skills and traits possessed by those who leave the school and who join the wider society. So the students' abilities, students' skills, students' attitudes, right? They were not at a satisfactory level. That's why they needed a change. Insufficiency on the products when considered relative to the inputs in the education system. Now the education system is there, right? We imagine a box. Usually I draw this one. And input, right? What is the input there? Teacher, free books, free uniforms, free materials, uniform materials, free books, free meals. Then for the teachers, workshops and all. That's the input. And the teaching learning process in the middle. The output is what? Majority of failures after 11 years, 13 years, and those who pass also, the standard of their learning is not at a good desirable level. So that is that, right? C. No, that's D. Then we get job opportunities are there, right? Job opportunities are there, but and the educated people are there, graduates and all, but they lack the necessary skills and competencies required by the jobs. Those who are educated, they lack the skills, basic skills, and those who are not educated, those who have failed the exams, of course they lack the knowledge also. So that is dissatisfied. Remember some of the points there, right? The necessity of introducing this. Number 2, the public opinion that evaluation strategies used to measure students' achievement levels are not geared towards an effective learning process of the students. So the evaluation strategies, testing strategies, they do not enhance what the learning process of the students. Most of the time the students are exam oriented, right? An effective and efficient teaching process. I told you, jug to mug. Then a proper recording and reporting system of students' capabilities to suit the existing social media. So there are no proper reporting system, right, about the students' achievement. So now you can remember these points 1, 2, 3 like that, main points, or you can remember some of the points in the middle, right, in the body of the main point as the reasons. Next one, number 3. As the public servants are accountable to their taxpayers, politicians, and the general public. So the public servants, right, the government servants are accountable. What is accountable? Down there you can see in the note, accountable. Accountability means, it's a first paper question, right? The public servants are bound to render means give a satisfactory service in return to the expenses held on behalf of them. So the government servants are public servants. We are all public servants, are bound to give a satisfactory service. We get something, we get our salary and all. So we have to give a satisfactory service. That is accountability. And the public servants are accountable to. That means, the teachers are accountable, number 1, to the parents and the general public on the quantitative and qualitative aspects. Quantitative, number, right? Qualitative, the quality, and of the services they render. So accountability also there. The teachers have to, not only the teachers have to give a suitable, a standard service to the general public, right? Because we get something, we have to give something. So that is also there. Then remember, you have to select once again 5 or 6 points and be ready with them for what is the subtopic. Why was it necessary to introduce the SBA program? You prepare your own short notes. Right. Number 4. This is very important. Next one. Right. Number 4. Main objectives of the program. This is very important. Put a star mark. 2 star marks. Main objectives of the program. Objectives. Earlier, the reasons why we needed an SBA, such a program. Now, Now we have the program. The objectives of the program there are four, right? There are four objectives, main objectives, remember. First one is to improve the teaching process. It is easy to remember, to improve the teaching process, how we teach, right? To improve the learning process, how the students learn. To improve the assessment process, in order to make the teaching learning procedures more efficient, right? Assessment process. And then number 4, to facilitate the school system to move from evaluation culture to assessment culture. Underline that one. Now, to move from an evaluation culture to assessment culture, monitoring culture. Earlier evaluation, making judgments and ranking and all. Now assessment, helping the students to learn. Right? So what are the main objectives? To improve, දියුණු කරන්න. To improve the teaching process, to improve the learning process, to improve the assessment process, and to move from evaluation culture to assessment culture. Right? Those are the four main objectives. Now we'll study these one by one. Right? First one, to improve the learning process within the classroom. Now we are talking about before 2000. Right? Before 2000 and after 2000. That's one. Now objective. To improve the learning process. The student in the earlier classroom was, right, earlier classroom, before 2000, only an inactive listener, because most of the time the teacher-centered method was done. So only an inactive listener. A receptive learner, always receiving. Right, a receptive learner. Now the mugs always receive. The jug pours knowledge to the mugs. Receptive learner. Whatever the teacher says, the students agree. And the students, how did they learn? Mostly learning by heart. Right? Rote learning. So remember those three. And inactive listener, a receptive learner, and learning by heart. Now after, in the future means after 2000, right? He should be an active learner, listener also possible, and able to learn meaningful, not a receptive learner. Meaningful, productive learner, right? A productive learner, and the ability to learn through discovery. Earlier, learning by heart. So sometimes they ask you to compare. That's why you'll have to prepare short notes here, right? Compare this before and after SBA. Remember, earlier inactive listener, now active listener. Earlier receptive learner, now productive learner. Earlier learning by heart, now learning through discovery. That's how it's expected, right? To improve the learning process within the classroom. The next objective, what is that? To improve the teaching process. How we teach, right? From the teacher's point of view. The teacher in the earlier classroom. The teacher in the earlier, that is before 2000, earlier classroom is more towards a teacher-dominated process. As teacher dominating, right? Dominator. Now, the teacher is a facilitator. Compare down there. in the future, not in the future after 2000, right? A facilitator, a guide. Then earlier, before 2000, the teacher primarily used the lecture method. Now, what's the method? Child-centered method, learning through discovery, by doing, trial and error. Makes children to master the textbook, based on the textbook, right? Encourages students to encourages students to do meaningful discovery learning. Likewise, you prepare your short notes side by side, write them. Teachers to suit the needs of the able learners in the group, mostly targeted at the able ones. No, the teacher help the others, but mostly that able students, clever students. But now all the students, right, individually. Pays more attention on covering the syllabus rather than catering to the needs of the students. So, like we do now, pays more attention, right, based to cover the syllabus rather than attending to the needs of the students. Now what? They are learning enjoyably, right? The teacher covers the syllabus, but the teacher pays more attention to the students' interests, needs, and other things. So in the future means later. Allow for a learner-centered teaching learning process. Earlier, teacher-centered process. Now, child-centered teaching process or learning process. Earlier, the teacher was as a dictator. Now, a facilitator. Then design learning events to make the students engage in enjoyable learning, not the lecture method and mastery of books. Now the teacher, not only the lecture method, now the teacher uses what? Group methods, all the other methods, not only lecture discussion, questioning, projects and all. Earlier only the teacher taught the students, jog to mark. Plan learning activities suit the various learner categories. Earlier only the clever ones, right? Various learner categories. Average, above the average, below the average. Take steps to cover the syllabus, taking into consideration the fact that there are different learner categories in the class. Not only covering the syllabus, but also attending to the interest and needs of the different types of learners in the class. So you compare, right? Compare and contrast these two. What's the teaching process, to improve the teaching process. Number 3, to improve the evaluation process. Number 3, to improve evaluation process in the classroom in order to make teaching learning more efficient. First one, to improve the learning process. Second one, to improve the teaching process. Now the third objective is to improve the evaluation process. Right, in the page number 3 also you can find here in the page number 2, before the introduction of SBA, now after, right? So we'll study them. As I told you, prepare short notes, right, side by side. The evaluation process evident in the earlier classroom was, one is following the very same pattern adopted by the examinations department of Sri Lanka, right? The same structure, exam structure, and the monthly test also according to that structure. Now should be one that caters the needs of all the learners in the classroom, right? Not only that examination department style, but here we can prepare teacher tests, right? According to the standards of the students, we can give different types. Next one, it's based on methods of achievement testing. Now, achievement testing means knowledge, how much and how well they have learned. Yeah, has to go by method of progress testing and performance testing. Early achievement, now performance, and also progress testing, teacher tests. Right? C, leads to a norm referenced approach. Norm reference, comparing one student's achievement with the achievement of others in his group. Right? Comparison is there, grading is there at the end. Now here, see, should make use of criterion referenced and ipsative reference. Criteria, what the students can do or cannot do according to a criteria. Now, ipsative means a student's present achievement with a comparison, right, with his past achievement. Then, earlier it was basically based on norm reference. Now, norm reference is also included and criterion and ipsative. Then pays more attention to certification, O-level certificate, A-level certificate, this certificate, that certificate. Should pay more attention in the process of monitoring while the students are learning, not to give certificates, but to monitor, to help them, if identify their weaknesses and strengths and help them. E, considers evaluation of cognitive abilities as the main task. Right? Knowledge, the main task. Practical tests were also there, performance, skills. But here, should assess the students' cognitive abilities, affective, social skills, motor, psychomotor skills, and personality traits. All 5 domains. Earlier, basically, cognitive domain. Leads children to become individual learners using textbooks, right? Their world is their textbooks. Now here has to pave way to learning through interaction, right? In groups, pairs and all. Earlier individual learning most of the time. Now pairs and groups, like that, but we having interactions. Earlier with the textbook. Now, motivates teachers to give only a theory-based knowledge to their students. Theory-based, based on the textbook, exam-oriented. Should allow the teachers to play the role of a facilitator. Facilitator, here the children, they learn through discovery. Learn by trial and error. And the teacher facilitates, guides, helps. Right. Allows the teacher to cater the more able learners and forget the slow learners. Most of the time the teacher pays attention to the majority or the very clever and the majority average students, right? Sometimes the teacher pays attention to the weaker ones, but because of that exam oriented culture, no time for those weaker students. Now here has to bring the majority of the students up to the level of mastery, expected level. Each and every child should reach that expected level. Before SBA, based primarily on evaluation culture. Evaluating, right? Giving tests, getting marks, comparing and all. Now has to consider a paradigm shift from evaluation to assessment. Earlier, evaluation culture. Now there's a important, a big, right? Important, a great shift from evaluation to assessment. So that's the way to improve the evaluation process. How? Not only following the examination department style testing, but according to the levels of the students, the teacher can give different types of tests. Likewise, evaluation process also expected to be changed. Right? That is to improve the evaluation process. Now the fourth objective, uh, proceed from an evaluation culture to assessment culture. Comparison, right, between evaluation culture to assessment. Put a star mark there because you have to, yeah, what's the difference between evaluation and assessment? I have given you one answer also, right, a model answer. Anyway, these are the things that you have to include, right? What were there in the evaluation, or what are there in the evaluation culture, and what are there in the assessment culture. Evaluation basically cognitive skills here, cognitive, affective, psychomotor, personal, all five domains. In the evaluation, grades were there. D, C, S, F, grading, ranking based on the marks. Right here, competency check, whether can do or not. Here, comparison with the average, norm reference, right? Average, above the average. This one has scored above the average. The average of the class, the subject is 70. Amali has scored 85. So Amali is above the average level. Likewise, right? Comparison with the average. Here, competency. Minimum level and essential level. Existing, expected. Like ranking and helping. Earlier ranking, first, second, third. This is the best. Likewise, this is the weakest. Here, helping everybody. The weaker students as well as the clever students. Awarding marks. Now, identifying what the students can or cannot do. Awarding marks, awarding grades, right? Awarding certificates. Achievement tests form hypothesis on the whole through sample after a certain period by external people. Now take the O-level exam. The papers are conducted by the examinations department. External people, not the class teacher or the subject teacher, right? External people. By taking, we make judgments, hypothesis, judgments or assumptions. On the whole through sample, as I told you, from the whole syllabus and from each section, a sample, one part will be selected. Based on that, a question will be asked. If we take measuring instruments, that area, we don't ask questions from all the instruments, no, different types of tests and all. Only maybe compare and contrast what objective type test with essay type test, like that. That's a sample, right? So we make judgment based on the whole through sample after certain period, year end tests, like that, achievement test by exam. But here performance tests are there, basic, based on skills. Achievement tests based on knowledge. Remember those. Through real life experience related to recently learned matters. Number 7. Written tests are there. Reliability, validity. Practicability also there. Can you remember what is reliability? Ability to get more or less the same results when a test is repeated. Validity, designed suitably and accurately to measure what it is expected to measure. Written test. Now, not only written tests, in school-based, according to the assessment culture, checklist, oral test, assignments, project, observation sheets, and all the other tools. Number 8. Earlier in the evaluation, teaching, we teach, the students learn, and we give the assessment or a test. Based on that, we make judgments. Glaser's model. Now, it's a total process. As I told you, we can start with assessment. We can give them an assignment and give marks. Then we can, the students learn, and that we can add more things. Assessment when they are presenting, the other students can learn when one group is presenting, learning, and the teacher can give additional points. In the second one, learning, assessment, teaching. Students learn and give an assessment assignment, and teacher can add more points. Likewise, it's a continuous teaching, learning, assessment. The third step, you know that one. We teach, students learn, and assessment. So it's a total process, a continuous process. Earlier only teaching, learning, assessment. Now we can begin with any level, assessment or teaching or learning. Right. So those are the changes, expected changes, right? From paradigm shift to from evaluation culture to assessment culture. Those there are 4 objectives of SBA: to improve the learning process, to improve the teaching process, to improve the evaluation process, and a paradigm shift from evaluation culture to assessment culture. Those are the 4 objectives. Separate, you'll study them and get the concept, right? Sometimes they'll ask directly what are the 4 objectives and all. Sometimes they don't ask, but the question is based on the concept. What do you agree with the concepts of SBA program? Is it effective? Likewise, they will ask. So you will have to say by comparing these. Number 6. When are the students assessed? So when can we assess the students according to this SBA program? Right. We can assess them at any time. Before, I told you, pre, while, post. Right? A. When they are engaged in learning within the classroom. That means, according to pre, while, post, what's the stage? When they are engaged in learning within the classroom, they are learning now. While. So we can, at the beginning while learning, or at the end, at the beginning or while learning. At the end, we can assess how much they have learned, right? At the beginning, what they were going to learn. Then while stage, how they are learning. At the end, how much they learn, how much they have learned. Then when they are engaged in learning outside the classroom, not inside the classroom, also outside the classroom. Right? Extracurricular, during the sports meet and all, extracurricular activities, co-curricular activities, practical work, sports meet, right? One word, and S should be there in the middle, sports meet. Scouting and cadetting camps, educational trips, right? When we say we are going to a beach, and we say by 4:30 we have to leave the beach because we have to visit another place. The students, they are still playing in the beach. We can assess there because that's not good personality traits or social skills, right? Being very selfish. So during the educational trips, school exhibitions, school arms giving, prize giving, agriculture or practicals, right? So not only inside the classroom, outside the classroom also we can assess. When the teacher feels that the assessment is appropriate, not scheduled, right? Whenever the teacher feels now I should assess my students, then she can conduct a test. Not only written test, different types, right? Occasionally, often, at the end of a lesson, at the end of part of a lesson, unit, etc. In a few occasions within the term, weekly, monthly, that's also possible. When the entry behavior skills are evident. Before starting a lesson, the assessment of the standard of students' abilities. Say you are teaching the students the passive construction, right? To teach that, you have to know, the students have to know about the past participles. So, entry behavior, what they know, now, right? So you can ask some questions or give the students some verbs to convert them into past participles. Then you can know the standard of the students. So that is the entry behavior. When process skills are evident while engaged in an activity, singing, dancing, reciting a poem, while they are doing, we can assess the work. When the performance level is evident at the end of a unit assignment project or the dance, actually a dance while, no? So at the end also we can assess. So under this, the students can be assessed at pre, while, post, inside the classroom, outside the classroom. Use different types of techniques. Number 7, what stages and fields to be assessed? So what should be assessed in the school-based assessment system? Number 1, background factors, right? They also affect the students' learning. We have to pay attention to them, take into consideration, right? The background factors. Then number 2, that's the most important one, factors related to the development of a balanced personality. What are the factors? 5 domains, right? So we'll go through this one briefly. Background factors, right? What are the background factors that affect the students' learning? Physical differences. Some have deficiencies in hearing, vision, speech, movement. So we have to take these factors into consideration when we assess the students, right? According to their standards, according to their abilities and what they can do, we have to assess. Mental and intellectual differences. The level of intelligence. Some are very clever. Some are not that clever, like that, right? That one also we have to take. Entry abilities. Now language skills, listening, the basic abilities, right? Pre-knowledge. Then the learning abilities or inabilities, problem solving, adaptation, adapting to new situations, right? Then the socio-economic background. Some come from low income families. So how do you, because they don't have that much facilities, so we have to take that point also into consideration when we assess the students. Then the factors related to, right? So what stages and fields to be assessed? What are the fields to be assessed? The 5 domains. Knowledge should be assessed, psychomotor skills, affective traits, emotions, attitudes and all, social skills and personality traits. Those are the things that we should assess according to the school-based assessment. And we have to pay attention to the students' background factors also when we are assessing these. Next one, what sort of assessment tools are used in the SBA? Not only written tests. Written tests are also included. Apart from that, we can have other tests also. Short test, then checklists, observation sheets, rating scales, assignments, projects, oral test, listening test, speech test, reading test, practical test, portfolios, then picture-based test, open book tests, right? These are the assessment tools, tests, assessment instruments that we can use under SBA. Then next point actually, reporting and communicating. That is also one of the weaknesses that was in the earlier system. That's why SBA was introduced, right? Now reporting and communicating. To whom? And second one is why. Here you will have to write short notes, your own notes, right? To to students. To whom? We have to report the achievement levels or the performance levels to the students. Why? So they can receive feedback and they can be motivated. And to get an idea about the present standard. The students, if they know their marks and all, they can know their present standard, can work towards the expected level. They can be motivated. Then what? They can practice well, and then when they achieve better achievement is there, they develop their self-confidence. All those things you have to write there. To parents, right? We have to report to the parents also. We have to show the progress test results. Why? What are the advantages of informing the parents? So the parents can guide and encourage their children, and the parents can understand the level of the achievement. Then the parents can motivate the students, right? And can give additional help. Then to teachers also, the teachers must know. Why? Then teacher can get an idea of the level of effectiveness of the teaching, to prepare additional feedback activities, to organize the lessons more effectively, to prepare learning teaching materials more effectively. Then to use what teaching learning techniques, more effective teaching learning techniques, and to employ effective teaching learning or evaluating strategies, right? Those are the advantages of knowing about their students' performance levels. Then the educational policymakers, they should know the performance or the achievement levels of students. Why? To gain information regarding construction of curriculum and educational policies. These Rupaya, NI, they should know how the students learn. So they can make the changes or introduce new things like that. And also the reporting should be done to people that render job opportunities. Now these are the subject matters taught in the A levels, O levels. These are the results like that. To get information regarding the abilities, competencies and skills of learner population. What these students know. Nowadays they know they have the computer literacy. General knowledge, A levels. Then O levels, what are the basket subjects, how they perform, right? Like that. So that is reporting and communicating to whom and why. You have to expand this, give examples, right? At least 5. What are the advantages of reporting to students? 5. To parents? 5. Likewise. Okay. Now the second one, methods of reporting and communicating. Methods of reporting and communicating. Earlier one, to whom and why we have to report, right? To whom and why. Now, what are the methods of reporting and communicating? There are around 6. We'll study them. First one is the progress record. Now, you have to remember some of the features, right? What is a progress record? Now, they ask you to have a model of a progress record also. It should be a model, not the proper one, right? A model is given down there. Just like the assignment, they might, I have seen questions. The progress record is a record of the progress. A record of the progress of a group of students. One whole class maybe, right? Of a group of students, not an individual, in a particular subject. So, Amali is the English teacher of grade 7A. So, Amali can maintain a progress record of grade 7A students. Right? That's a progress record. It's a record it maintained by the teacher about the progress of a group of students in a particular subject. Those two things should be there. Group of students, a particular subject, not all the subjects. At least after 5 periods of teaching. So you can give them any kind of test, not only written test. Earlier we have mentioned now checklist assignments and all. So we can give them after at least after 5 periods of teaching. It's a continuous process, right? While they are learning, we assess. About 8 to 10 times a term. Those days it was 8 or 10 assessments, right, within one term. Then it became like this, too much of everything's good for nothing, like that. So the students got 10 times scared of doing these assessments. And so nowadays I think it's 5. Check, right? Per term. Then in situations identified by the teacher can decide when to give the assignments, right? Recording the students' performance levels using a symbol. Right, here the record is based on symbols. Now you can see there's a scale down there, right side, there's a scale, right? You give a test, any kind of test, and you get marks, convert the marks into 100, right? Now there's a pattern, see, 0 below there, 0, then 0 to 20. Just study the left side of the marks, 0, 21, 61, 81. Right? On the other side, you have to remember the scale. 20, 60, 80, 100. That's the scale. 0 to 20. What is the symbol? Yeah, they consider it very weak, and the symbol is black. Right? We don't put the marks. We are using symbols. We color symbols. Then between 21 and 60, weak. The color is yellow. I think you have colored these things, right? Now see the gap. This is one disadvantage in here. Now usually 40 is the pass mark, but here we consider it as 60. Below 60, weak. According to this, your assessment, internal assessment, the pass mark is 60, right? Then weak, yellow. 61 to 80, good, green. 81 to 100, red, right? Very good. That's the scale symbols. How many colors are there? 4. Black, yellow, green, red. Remember this. Then we'll go back to the above to show the students' progress more explicitly, clearly, right? By studying horizontal. We'll go through this one down there. By studying horizontally across. We'll say the first one is Achiniherat. Now we'll study this table, right? You have to write the name, progress record, then the grade, subject, and the term also. One subject, no term, and the students are there vertically, top to bottom. Achini, Sumudu, Kasun, like that. Then across you can find assessment situations. Situations means assessments. Wow, the first assessment was based on listening, speaking, reading, writing, again listening, grammar, reading. Likewise, you can have your assessments, right? Then you give test and so according to this progress record. Now if we study horizontally across, now Achini's marks, listening marks, speaking, reading. So when we study horizontally, we can know a single student's progress more clearly. And when we study vertically, top to bottom, say Achini, Sumudu, Kasun, and if we take a single assessment, right, then we know to assess the teacher's efficiency. students' efficiency also in listening test, right? First one is the listening test, the whole class performance. There we can test the teacher's efficiency by studying vertically. These are first paper questions. By studying horizontally, we can know the students' efficiency, right? Then students' progress. And by studying vertically, we can know a teacher's efficiency in a particular subject area. We go back to the characteristics. That's what to show the student's progress. Then allowing to assess the teacher's efficiency by studying the progress record vertically. To make use of the evidence to communicate with parents. So those days when we had parents days, the teacher has the subject teacher has a progress record according to the colors. They talk. They show the record and let the parents know. A record prepared with assistance of the students. I will show you that, right? So the parents can more effect. The parents can see their children's uh, achievements or the performances clearly because the symbols are used, not complicated, right? Methods of reporting and communicating. Earlier, before the introduction to this SBA, the reporting was not that clear. That's what they say, report cards. Now here, by using this and all, the parents can get to know about the students' performance, their children. That is a progress record. So what are the key points there? A progress record is prepared based on a group of students in a particular subject, one subject. After at least 5 periods of teaching, there could be 3 or 4 assessments or 5 assessments per term. And the tests are given according to the teacher's wish, right? Teacher tests are given. And by studying the progress record horizontally, we can know a student's performance, progress. And by studying the record vertically, we can know the teacher's efficiency in teaching. Right. Now in this slide, I have given examples on how to prepare a progress record. First, we give a test and we get the marks, right? We convert them into 100. Mark sheet, say name of students and the assessing situations, the marks. Assessing situations means tests. Then there's a scale on the left side. I explained that, right? Now we'll take the first child, SC Vimalaratna. For the first assessment, he got 90. Now what's the color? Go to the left and see 90. It lies between 81 and 100. So very good. Color is red. Go to the table given down there. So SC Vimalaratna's first one, red. Now we'll take Vimalaratna's second one, 78. Go to the scale. 78, it lies between 61 and 80. So the color is green. Likewise, first we give a test, get the marks, convert them into 100, and using that scale, we can decide on the relevant symbol. Here, down there, the progress record. That's the progress record, not the above one, not the mark sheet. Right? The progress record is the one at the below. There you will have to mention the scale. Remember the scale. I told you on left side. 0, 21, 61. 8න් 6ක් අඩු කරාම 2යිනේ. අන්න එහෙම මතක තියාගන්න. 81, 61, 21. Right? අඩු කරලා අතන මේ 20යි කියලා එහෙම දාන්න එපා. අර මතක තියාගන්න. Then that's the scale. Then you have to prepare this. Just draw this. No, you don't have to color these. You prepare one like this, right? Usually I get you to prepare one, or you can use if you have photocopies, you can draw it here, there. Use color symbols and At the exam, you'll have to mention the details and 1 or 2 circles. You don't have to take green pencils and yellow pencil. Just write yellow within the circle, write Y, G, R like that. That's a sample, right, of a progress record. The next one, number 2, is the student's profile. Right, the teachers can use students' profiles to communicate with the parents. Now here, to show the nature of achievement a student has gained in a subject over a period of time. Here, not a group of students, right? We can know the progress of a single student has gained in a subject, one particular subject. That's common, right? Earlier one in the progress record, a group of students, particular subject. Here student's profile, a student, particular subject over a period of time, usually terms, right? 3 terms. They can prepare these student profiles on the last page of the exercise book related to the subject, right? In the English book, writing book, they can prepare these, right? First term, second term, third term. Or sometimes in some schools they have printed these. Regarding every assessment made, right? The students can, that's important. The students can color these things, right? They can make. The students' profiles of a curve, chart, or a histogram. In the next slide, you can see those 3, right? Here, this is a pie chart kind of a thing. A circle, 360 degrees now. So, a chart may be a histogram. And this is made by the student himself. To build up his own profile related to the subject. So, student is responsible of his own reporting. Reporting, this is maintaining records of his performance, right? Can assess his own progress. Enables the teacher to identify a student's level of achievement in each unit, right? If we take the first term, I told you earlier there were 10 assessments, right? So the child can color these sections, right? How can we draw this? Now if there are 10 assessments, then 360 divided by 10, that is 36 degrees, right? You use a ruler and a compass and you measure 36 degrees and draw a line. Likewise, you can prepare. Nowadays, they have printed. You can find printed ones, right? Books. The schools are giving these books. Then that's what is. That's what you have to know about the student's profile. A single student's progress in a subject, particular subject. The student can make its own charts, and the student can color and take the responsibility of preparing this. Now in this slide you can see 3 different types of student profiles, as I mentioned, a chart, a histogram, or a graph, right? First you have to know the marks. Here according to this, 2 students marks are taken. You can take only 1 student, right? To show you something I have taken 2. Right. So the assessment situations are listening, grammar, speaking, tests like that, and Amali's marks and Bimali's marks. All right. Now they are given out of 100. You have to convert them into 100, right? Then only you can use the scale. We'll set the pie chart. You know how to draw that. By drawing that, you have to write the number in the middle and you have to read it clockwise, right? As I showed in the earlier pie chart. Say MG Atapattu. Atapattu is Amali. Right, so first one, Amali got listening 23. 23, what's the color? yellow between 21 and 16. So Amal has colored the first one as wedges. First one as in yellow. Second one 40 yellow. 36 yellow. Likewise green. What is that? 68. Reading green. Black color is also there for 17. No, 17. It's below 20 now. So black. If you give black, you can't give black because it's an assessment. You can't give mark because 60 is the pass mark. If one has scored below 60, you have to give them another assessment, right? Now we'll take this next one because the child was absent in one test, ninth one. So just leave it blank, right? You can use the same way. Now sometimes the students, they cheat, but because even if they got yellow, they color that wedge in green, right? You have to be careful. And you have to teach them. You have to be honest. You have to take the responsibility of this. Don't do things like that. We have to teach them. And we'll go to the next one, the polygon kind of a thing. It's a grid. And here it's a grid. On the left side, y-axis, levels of performance. And on the x-axis, assessment situations, tests. Test 1, test 2, test 3. Then there are 4 lines, you can see. The bottom line is very weak. Middle one weak, then third one good, fourth one very good. Right, that's the scale there. So we'll take who's Atapattu's listening one first, 23. So first assessment according to 1 go upwards and 23 is yellow. So weak. You have to put that circle in the middle of the cross. Likewise, you draw the circles and then by using a ruler, you join them. Right? That is the grid polygon. You join the points. If one is absent, second chart, now 7, 8, for the ninth one, she got absent. So you omit that and you take the next one, 10th. 6, 7, 8, 10. Why? You have to maintain the continuity. Right? Continuation should be there in the graph. If the ninth one is absent, there's a gap. No, it is not a curve. That's the way. And here you can use the next one, use a histogram also. Same method, y-axis, level of performance. 4 levels are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is the weak. Then assessment situations are there. Then you draw the histograms, right? Here you take the first bar. See the first bar? 0 to 1. That one. That's the way you draw. And the absentees one is also like that. 6, 7, 8, 9. Ninth one is missing. So just have a, now if it is a student profile, you just have some marks and draw one pie chart and just write yellow and black like that. Okay, at the exam. So number 3 is the pologram. You can see the shape of a pologram on the right side bottom. I'll explain this to you in detail in the next slide, how to draw this. Now, a pologram is a graph showing the level of achievement as a whole. We are taking the whole class, right? And in one picture, you can see it as a whole of a group of students. Once again, just like the progress record, a group of students in a given subject or a unit, right? Now, earlier in the progress record, a group of students, particular subject, right? and 10 situations or 5 situations. Here, a group of students, particular subject, but one testing situation. That means we are taking the marks of one test and we draw the hologram. That's the difference, right? And it is relevant to a unit or theme or a topic, right? The test is based on the topic or a theme unit. Performance level of the students. So we are indicating the performance levels of the students. That yellow one is the pologram, right? The shape. It's the that's what we are using to read the this record. To give a total picture, we can get the total picture of students' performance. Above 80, above 60, like that. Having the students grouped according to their learning strengths and weaknesses. Right, here we can group the students. We can say who got marks between 20 and 60. We can know who got marks between or below 60. We can know. Or we can say who got marks above 80. Then we know. In the progress records, it's difficult to get the get the details like that. Here we can group, right? Group the students also. Drawn by the teacher himself. Here the teacher does this. Students can't do. Earlier ones, both progress record and the student profile, the students also can do, right? Help the teacher. Making way for a self-assessment. The students will look at this one, and now actually the teacher uses a bristle board because there are 40 students now. Here there are only 12 students. To draw 40 students once, she needs a bristle board. And nowadays they are not preparing these polograms because sometimes the weaker students' weaknesses are exhibited throughout the term. It's not healthy. Right? So remember what's a pologram? It is a graph showing the class achievement in a particular subject in one test, and we can group the students accordingly. We can compare the students' performance. Now the last two domains, personality traits and social skills. Right, personality traits. The production of a well-balanced citizen is the sole aim of education. A well-balanced person should possess cognitive abilities, affective characteristics, psychomotor skills, and various types of social skills and good personality. Thus, the classroom activities should be organized so as to facilitate the development of personality traits of a person. So, what are the personality traits? How can you define that? You can say personality traits are individual characteristics of a person. Write it there. Individual characteristics of a person. Right? It deals with the personality of the individual. Now, what are the characteristics? You have to remember at least 5, right? Good welcome means you are a welcoming person. Encourages, spellings they are wrong, right? Geous. Courteous. Personal cleanliness, a clean person, not a dirty person. Personal cleanliness, not cleanliness, cleanliness. Ability to hold responsibility, right? Can hold responsibility. Good behavior, ability to perform tasks accurately. Literacy, right? Not only the letters, computer literacy also. Processing literacy, ability to face difficulties, right? Then creative, observant, questioning. Laziness is here, it's a negative one, right? Not lazy, very active. Talkativeness also, it goes both ways. Carelessness is a bad one, right? Punctuality, patience, obedience, all these things, leadership qualities, right? Those are personality traits. Now, so what are personality traits? Individual characteristics of a person, right? So we have to encourage, we have to plan our lessons in order to develop these good personality traits in students. Say you can get the students to come in front of the class and give a speech or read out their work, and you have to appreciate them, so they build up their confidence. And you have to set deadlines, not deadlines, you say those who finish first with all correct answers, I'll give you red stars. So they'll what develop the punctuality. They learn how to finish a task within the given time correctly. Likewise, you can organize these tasks, right, in the classroom. Then social skills. The system of education should facilitate a person to live in a society in a peaceful and useful way. The social skills are of three types: social skills related to people, social skills related to performance, social skills related to values of good or goodwill. Right? Now, what are the social skills? Respecting elders, respecting others' views, values local and national things, right? Now the transport system, you have to say all these things. You mustn't put all your rubbish on the flow of the trains, buses. Respect and appreciate others' views and services. Likewise, you can see loyalty, working cooperatively. So remember five, at least five social skills, right? Social skills. What are social skills? How can you define? Social skills, they facilitate how they facilitate a person to how to live in a society usefully and peacefully. Right? Social skills are the skills that are needed to live in a society peacefully and usefully. Write that and learn. Remember. Okay. Next one is the subject-based progress record. So it's a record, right? You have to prepare a subject-based, based on the subject within a term. And according to the units and all, you can give the test and you can give the marks also. And you can include various behavioral patterns there. You can write the comments. Okay, that's the subject based progress sheet, record sheet. Next one, observation sheets. Observations using tally marks. Remember the affirmative and negative qualities. So you can use those, right, to check the students. Observation sheets are used to check the students. Skills also, checklists are mostly used for the skills. Observations, attitudes, values, personality traits, social skills, like that you can measure. So observe. Then checklists are good for assessing students' skills, dancing, practicals, everything. So those are the methods of communicating, right? So we discussed methods of reporting and communicating. These are clear, right? Not complicated. No marks, no plus or minus signs. Progress records, they are using symbols, colorful for colors, right? Progress record, student profile, hologram, subject-based progress sheet, and observation schedules for observation schedules for affectionate domain, personal traits, and social skills, and then checklists. You can use other things also, assignments and all. So that is the end of this school-based assessment. What you have to do now is go through this section properly, write your own short notes, prepare your own notes, and then go through the past papers. You can see most of the time they have asked 1 or 2 questions based on this area, right? They sometimes they ask directly what are the objectives of school based assessment, how can we report the to whom do we have to report and why, right? If not, you have to learn the concepts, then apply your theory to a practical situation. They ask practical questions also. Go through the past papers, then you can get an idea about this. So that's it.